Welcome to Key Factors Podcast, where knowledge meets ambition in the fast-paced world of real estate and mortgage. I'm your host, Mark Jones, bringing you the latest insight, trends, and expert advice to navigate this dynamic property market. In each episode, we dive deep into the heart of the industry, dissecting market movement, exploring investment strategies, and unlocking the secret to real estate success. Whether you're a seasoned professional, an aspiring investor, or simply looking to stay ahead of the curve, this is the ultimate guide to making informed decisions in the world of property and real estate. So grab a seat and let's uncover the key factors that make all the difference. Welcome to Key Factors Podcast. Let the journey begin. And welcome back to another episode of Key Factors Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Jones, and we are powered by ReviewMyMortgage.com, the largest index of mortgage programs in the nation. And recently, we've given you episodes and discussions about commercial real estate. We've talked about NAR rulings for buyer representation. We've talked about marketing tricks, memes, humor in mortgage, and plenty of other real estate knowledge that will help you succeed potentially in this business and even help you purchase in a market like today. But today I have the opportunity to meet with a gentleman that I inspire to be like in some ways and would love to continue to learn from in many other ways. You guys may know him from your training courses for CE, but I know him as a friend and as Ken Perry. Ken, how you doing?
Dude, that was a cool intro.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah.
Well, now what I do is I actually let the guests talk about themselves now so that I don't have to memorize all the different things. So Ken, tell these folks who you are.
Well, first of all, I have to tell you, I can't hear your name without in my head hearing Mark Jones.
Who?
And I know it's Mike Jones, right? But it's Mark Jones.
That's right. So, that is right.
Dude, always a pleasure. And then I'll get one of his songs on my mind, which is great. So yeah, I'm Ken. I'm just Ken.
Just Ken.
I like to say nowadays. Dude, it's I don't know if I've introed myself in a while. I was so worried you'd be like, he's the compliance guy, because everybody calls me the compliance guy. I just love compliance. It doesn't make me just, like, you can't boil me down to just being a compliance guy.
There's more to the man.
There's so much more to me than compliance.
Yeah.
And really, it's not even where I started. Like, I didn't start to teach compliance or talk about compliance or know about it. I got interested. And so after I started the company, I started looking into these laws and finding out everybody's breaking them. And I'm like, oh, dude, somebody's got to stop this.
There's a void here.
Yeah, totally.
So that being, I guess, the first topic of discussion, what, I guess, provoked you? What inspired you to start the Knowledge Coop? And for those of you that are listening, Ken Perry is the president and founder of the Knowledge Coop. And the Knowledge Coop provides loan officers all around the country with training, compliance courses, and in my opinion, a pretty fun and cool take on how you consume this information. So what inspired that? What triggered it?
So for like 3 seconds, I have to go back and tell you, I used to work for the police department.
Okay.
And this is back in college. I was kind of in a feeder program, and I was going to be, like, my whole life was set out in front of me to be a police officer and a teacher in college. I was getting a 2.33 GPA. I really hated school. And so I actually had a teacher, Kevin Toohey, who pulled me aside after my first speech class.
Okay.
Where he got to hear me speak. And he's like, dude, you've got something. And I'm like, what? And he's like, you could speak. And I'm like, what? I mean, it's easy. And he's like, no. Like, I want you on the debate team. And so he got me on the debate team. So it goes back to starting debating in college, getting really good at it, reading laws, reading everything, and then defending it, being able to have all that knowledge. And it was the first time I was really celebrated for anything in my life. Like, I could do this. And it was like my special purpose. And so any job I had was always training. I would start at something and then I would go teach people how to do it.
Okay.
And when I got into the mortgage industry in 98, September, a buddy of mine, I got in the same way everybody else does. You're living a regular life, typically bartending. I was bartending. And my buddy's like, dude, tons of people make money in this industry. You should try it. And I'm like, I don't want a desk job.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, but give it a shot. And so my wife, I got a salary when I started.
Okay.
And so my wife's like, we've never made that much money. And I'm like, all right, I'll try it. And it wasn't that much money. Like,
now, were you originating when you jumped in, or were you just a part of the business setup, processing? Or
no,
you
I was
went
originating. I never, dude, you don't want me in your setup team. You do not want me in your processing team. My follow-up skills are nothing. Like I suck. All I can do is I could sell a loan. I could help somebody understand it.
Yeah.
I knew my guidelines better than my underwriters.
Yep.
I could win the deal every day. And if I said it was getting done, it was getting done because I knew more than anybody else did. So I found like researching and reading would help me be the best loan officer in the place. And then I became their top producer. And then I got bored. And then I went in and started working with other people that hadn't reached the production I was reaching. I was like, no, here's how you do it. Like package it this way.
Right.
And really helping other people find knowledge. And then my boss came in and goes, so here's the deal. I want to offer you this new job. I think you're bored. And I'm like, I am bored. He goes, I can promise you will, he said, you'll be twice as happy and you'll make about half what you make now. And I'm like, what? And he goes, financially, this is not a good decision, but for your life, this is the right decision.
Sure.
And I went home and talked to my wife. I'm like, how do you feel about us making half? And she's like, do your dream. And so I started training for them. I built a technology using Dreamweaver back then.
Oh, wow.
I built a training website called the House of Knowledge.
Okay.
And we're talking 1999.
This is sub 2000. Okay.
Yeah. And so
before Y2K, did you think after you built it that it was just going to all turn to zeros?
I was totally concerned. Yeah. But yeah, so I built it and I'm like, I really like doing this. Well, then I, got a job to move up to the Northwest as an AE.
Okay.
Because we wanted out of California. I was in the Bay Area. And so we moved up and my boss came back to me and he said, you're going to go do sales and you'll be good at it, but you're never going to be happy until you find your way back to training.
Yeah.
His name's Sam Hussein and he's still one of my biggest mentors I've ever had. And I'm like, all right, Sam. And so I got up to the Northwest, got into it as an AE, but then I kept seeing people screw up, kept seeing people not be successful. And I would rather sit down with somebody who's like an okay producer and teach him how to be a top producer than go hang out with top producers who already figured it out.
Right.
And so I would spend all of my time with brand new people.
Right.
Which as an AE is a horrible idea because they're not, banging out loans.
Not yet. Yeah,
right?
Correct.
So I was growing people because I'd rather do that than go help some rich guy make more money.
Well, it's very gratifying when you see what time you've spent, what secrets you've bestowed upon them, and them actually using it to become successful. I've got a loan officer, Nicole, in my office that is an example of exactly that. And it's a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah.
I can't say that it's worth more than money, but it is almost equal in the feeling if you've got your stuff in order.
And I think it's worth more than money.
Yeah.
Like I do.
I can't disagree with that. Because I know the feeling and you get to do it a whole lot more and on a much bigger scale.
Yeah.
And I've got a question that you brought up in what you were just saying there. When you're dealing with loan officers and top producers, one, obviously it's tough to change what a top producer is doing because they're already doing it. Right. It's hard to change what or fix what is broken if nothing is broken, so to speak. But have you noticed in your time that an understanding of the guidelines, the complexities, the ins and outs, or at least where to find the answer all the time makes the best loan officers thrive?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you see these top producers, and I don't think anybody doesn't need to grow, right? Who is it? Socrates, who said, the wise man is he who knows that he knows nothing.
Yeah.
That's like that's my slogan, right?
That's right.
I never think I know it all. And so there's top producers that have done it, but they've done it by pissing off every underwriter they've ever worked with.
Correct.
Because they never studied the guidelines. Now they're just burning team members out.
That's right.
And then there's some who know the guidelines. They're never going to waste the time of anybody. And so they're more efficient and they run a way better operation.
Right.
There's a guy, Mark Alto's his name. He's in Portland and he knows every guideline way more than anybody. But that's why he's successful.
That's right.
And because it brings you confidence.
Well, it kind of goes hand in hand with, in my opinion, becoming and being a loan officer successfully is two parts. You've got to have the marketing piece, being able to go out and get it, and then being able to do it. And those, in my opinion, that know their guidelines backwards and forwards don't necessarily have to be the best at marketing because they know how to do loans.
Right.
They can be the second look king. They can take something that someone tried to do and put it together the right way.
Yeah.
So message for those out there, if you're struggling on the marketing side of things, maybe pick up a set of guidelines and know those inwards and outwards.
Dude, I was always saying, it's not your flyer.
No.
You're not worth it.
Not at all.
And if you can't prove you're worth it, why would I ever go to you?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Boots on the ground, essentially, is what will get you there. The social media is what gets the attention, but you still got to have the proof in the pudding, so to speak. And when I got into the business, I was making good money. I was actually a finance manager for a car dealership. Prior to that, I worked at a bank as a what did I do there? Business banker first. I was a personal banker, etc. But the concept of becoming a loan officer, when they put those guidelines in front of me, I felt like I was an attorney. Like I felt cool. I felt important. Like I'm going to know these things and I'm going to put the files according to this. And if someone gives me pushback, I'll be able to go to the guidelines, copy and paste it directly to them.
They're not a secret.
No,
like,
not at all.
There's a black box, and Fannie, Freddie have a black box, but for the most part, all the guidelines are there.
Yeah.
If you just manage them well and know what they are, then and then when you go talk to somebody, you have those guidelines in the back of your head, and it steers the conversation, right?
Correct.
So now it's like, wait, I have something for you. Did you just say you're thinking about building a home? I'm like a construction, guru.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, one of your guys, by the way, reached out to me last week. You guys just got a new construction loan.
We did.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. He's so excited about it. But like, it really is that guideline for me, at least when I was an originator, that guideline, knowing them made me better. When I was an AE, knowing them made me, somebody you want to call.
Absolutely.
Which as an AE, it's the best thing you bring to the table. Right. And so I ended up doing the AE job, and finally I just couldn't watch an industry fail anymore. I started seeing some of the stated 80-20 non-owner stuff. And I was like, I'll never forget, a guy called me and he said, hey, I've got a borrower and he's W-2 and I need to go stated. And I said, well, why would you need to go stated if he's W-2? And he goes, because he doesn't make enough money to even make the mortgage payment. And I said, why would you do the loan? And he goes, what are you talking about? And I'm like, why would you do that loan? And he's like, do you have a stated loan or not? And I go, for that guy? I said, you're going to give him a house and then he's going to default. And he's like, right, but I need to fund this loan. Can you do it?
Wow.
And I'm like, no, and you shouldn't either. And he goes, I'm calling this other lender. And I think that was a big moment for me to go, I can't play in this game anymore. I need to get out of it and fix it from the outside, which is funny because as an AE, I'd walk in and I'd be like, I'm Ken the AE. And they're like sales guys here, right? As soon as I started my company in 2003, it was April 1st of 2003. I quit on April 1st. My boss didn't believe I was really quitting. It was hilarious.
April Fools, gotcha.
And so I quit the day before my daughter Aria was born. She's our second out of 3. And so I went in, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I just want to go educate people. And that's when I launched. It originally was called Broker Knowledge Group.
Okay.
Brokers were doing 67% of the business back then. And I really, as a lender, I mainly spent time with brokers. And so I started Broker Knowledge Group. And then in 2012, 2010 and 2011, we were doing online education for the first time.
Okay.
All video. So I started doing video in 2009 and 10.
Very good. You were ahead of the curve.
Oh, dude, you should go back and see some.
Ahead of the curve.
You can still find them.
Baby kid.
They were so bad. I was doing it in my room because like 2008 happens, the market crashes. I'm training people who I have nobody to train anymore. And so I set up, like we closed the office. It was me and my mother-in-law in that time. And I went home and I bought these green sheets and I bought some lights from Home Depot and I lit up a green wall. And so if you watch the original videos,
that's cool.
It's all like hazy in the bottom corner.
Granular footage.
So bad. And the audio is like totally off. And
wow.
Yeah, so I was doing it, but the problem was there wasn't really a system I could run those through because back then, if you talked to a learning management system company, those software didn't do video very well.
Right.
And YouTube would revolutionize the way streaming happens, right?
Altogether,
so,
absolutely.
We have clients in Alaska that were like, I can't watch video where I am, but YouTube changed the game, right? And so we started doing video, and then I was like, I want to build a system where we can actually deliver that. At the same time, I was watching companies communicate horribly with their teams.
Sure.
And I was like, I wish we could just build something where we could have internal communication be in one place.
Right.
And so the concept of Knowledge Coop was if we could do our training and then give people a place to store their training and train their people, but also give them a place where they can find anything. So we found a company that was a startup out of Austin, actually. And we started working through them, built the system with them. And then we ended up purchasing that company in 2020, literally as places were shutting down. The conference I'm at right now, or that I was at before coming here, that was the conference I was at in January of 2020 when we closed the deal to purchase that software company.
How cool.
And so I remember going, like, it was a nightmare, that whole sale, buying a company, and it's not easy.
No, heck no. A lot of steps, a lot of, depending on who it is, a lot of hands in the jar.
A lot of emotions.
Absolutely. Egos, everything gets involved.
Yeah. So we closed the deal. I sat in a San Francisco hotel closing a deal on my laptop, like signing the paperwork, and we've owned it since.
There was no DocuSign then yet?
We did DocuSign.
Okay, very good.
This was 2012.
Okay,
so
good.
Yeah, we
that was when I got in the business, 2012.
No, sorry, 2012 is when we built it.
So 2020?
2020 is when we closed it. Yeah, because there was no DocuSign back then. But so yeah, we ever since, we've just been having fun building, and we built a place they could all train. When I started in 2003, it wasn't a compliance training. It was just, let's help loan officers understand how to read credit reports, read appraisal reports, who's Fannie and Freddie, get them launched correctly.
Yeah.
So we've kind of gone back to that. So,
and that I guess it's more of a, we're not going to teach you how to get business, but we're going to teach you how to do the business the right way.
Yeah.
I like that concept. Yeah. And I met you in Hawaii, the first trip that I took with Man Mortgage.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, at the last little trip that we all had as Man Mortgage, I won a raffle drawing, and it was the collage of all of the important moments that have taken place within Man. And there you are. There you are with Don Man. How cool is that?
And Don Man.
Yeah, man. So
he's one of my favorite humans in the world. Like, I have so much respect
for the
earth,
that guy. For sure.
Yeah.
So when I met you then, I had no idea who you were. I was with the previous company, Academy, that we didn't use the Knowledge Coop. And jumping into this, Chad introduced me and said, hey, you need to pick his brain a little bit. And it was because we were rolling out a similar to what you're doing, but on a different level. They pair well together. It's basically mortgage education from a guideline perspective to consumers directly.
Right.
Since then, it's morphed into a customizable tool for those loan officers. And I wanted to pick your brain back then. And it gave me a lot of confidence to keep going. And you've really got something here. And I appreciate you for that.
Dude, I loved it. That call was so great. When we got back from Hawaii and jumped on a call, I'm like, dude, this guy's got it. Like that, you've done such a good job. So I respected it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's not easy.
No, it's
building
not.
Something is
and that's kind of what I want to talk about with you. Because I'm sure there's folks out there that are listening, tuning in, that maybe have an idea, maybe more than an idea. Maybe they've got a prototype or a demo of something that they're wanting to get out there. And I haven't had the opportunity to have somebody on the show that has created something and seen it through to launch, formation of company, et cetera. And now, to be honest, you're known as, like you said in the beginning, that compliance guy, you know? What was that like going through that process?
Dude, such a great question. So I actually, when I came up with the idea for the Knowledge Coop, I lost my salesperson.
Okay.
That was it for her. The problem with, so I'm ADHD, diagnosed ADHD.
Oh yeah.
My Instagram is
Same
ADHD
here.
CEO. I embrace it with everything.
So let's pause the original question and talk about that ADHD, because for me, I have it as well. Knew it all along, but parents were the type that were like, it's an excuse, act right, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So I went through life doing that, self-medicating with things, herbal things, and they worked. But now that I've grown into who I'm going to be, so to speak, in my opinion, I consider it a superpower.
It is. Well, it's, you can do so much with it as an adult. As a kid, it is judged. It is, there's something called, what is it? Dysphoria. It is, hang on.
I can Google it. We got Google.
Rejection sensitivity dysphoria.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
And so what it is most kids with ADHD get like insane amounts of negative feedback
Sure.
before they're like 10, because it's, you're too loud, you're too much, you're sit down, stare at the teacher. And I actually had a teacher in 3rd grade that was just did not understand me at all. And it was so bad that I skipped 4th because he was going to be my teacher again.
Wow.
So my parents advocated for me and said, he's not going through another. I mean, that guy destroyed me emotionally.
Because he just did not get it.
He didn't.
Yeah.
And so I jumped and went into a new grade, and which of course then with ADHD puts me at a disadvantage in school. But you learn in school that you just have to be friends with your teachers so they don't want to give you a bad grade.
Right.
And so my social skills started. So the advantage you have with ADHD is you're forced into making people like you at an early age, because you're not going to win them with your grades.
Correct.
Right. And so as an adult, it is an absolute superpower, but it can burn people out. And so you have to also pay attention to, I'm living my best life, but those around me hate their lives or hate their jobs. And I've done that to people. I actually found out I had ADHD because my salesperson quit and said, this is just another idea. And you're so full of ideas and you don't follow through, which is,
that's normal.
It's totally fair.
Normal. Yeah.
And I had another person quit 2 years later, and she gave me a list of all the things. And both of them said, I love you, but I can't work for you. And here's the reasons. Because I asked for a list. I'm like, what is it? Like, what do I do wrong?
Yeah.
And so I compared the list and I'm like, something's here.
Wow.
And I sent it to my wife's aunt, who's an expert on ADHD. She's a therapist out of Princeton. And I'm like, what is this? And she's like, where'd you get that? I said, it's feedback I got. And she's like, those are the symptoms of ADHD.
Wow.
And so I took the test. I scored so high on that test. And from then I could deal with it, because then it was like, all right, if this is a thing, what are the positives? What are the negatives?
Right.
Because there's both, right?
Absolutely.
And then you solve for the negatives for me, it's been surrounding myself with people that are amazing at those things that I suck at. Like
Absolutely.
if you, as a loan officer, if you told me I had to fill out an application, send out disclosures and follow up for documents, I wouldn't do loans.
Right.
Because my brain would tell me, hey, if you take this app, it's going to trigger a bunch of things that have to be done that you're going to fail at.
Right.
And so I'd be like, well, then I'm not
going to do it.
No.
Yeah.
But where I worked, I could take the app, and as long as I sold the deal and they understood it, I never had to touch it again.
Gotcha.
And so I closed that many deals because I had so much support.
You had a great team. Yeah.
Which you need.
I agree 100%. And there's a school of thought that says, let's focus on the things that you're not good at to make you better. And then there's another school of thought that I adopt personally, which is, let's take the things that you're not good at, write them down, and get something to replace them. Let's fill those gaps in, give it to somebody that is, and then let's focus on the things that you're really good at and make them better.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I go through life.
My favorite phrase is, you're a fish being graded on how well you climb a tree. It's like,
I'll never get there.
That last year was so tough because I had, leading a company is not easy. Managing people is not
Tougher,
easy.
yeah.
When business is great, it's easy.
Sure.
Because you make a lot of mistakes, but nobody cares about the mistakes because you're crushing it as a company, right?
Yeah.
When the market, tanked last year and decisions had to be made, I'm not great at that.
Right.
Like, I'm not great at, I want to make everybody happy.
Same.
I want to make everybody love their jobs. And when it comes down to making tougher decisions and being the guy that has to sit across and say, I don't have a spot for you anymore, I hate that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't do it well. And I during all last year, I was like, dude, I am a brilliant shortstop being graded on how well I throw a curveball.
Sure.
Like, I'm not going to be that way, right? And so, yeah, that's the trick, is knowing what you're great at, diving into those. And if you can live in those, dude, this last 3 days have been so much fun. I'm at a conference. I love hanging out with people, making them laugh and smile and answering questions.
Sure.
And, dude, that's my world.
And now that you've said that, I want to ask something that I wonder if it's similar to me. Being that we are so good in front of people, entertaining, keeping people happy. You see somebody that's upset, you go over there and you're the person that brings their spirits up, that then is contagious. I'm the person that tries to spread the idea of, if you hold a door for somebody, they're going to get that, and maybe they'll do it the next time, and it just continues.
Yeah.
But that being the case, I mean, is it somewhat of a curse that we have in going this route? I mean, how do I put this question? I mean, you know what? Let's move on. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. So
it's hard to not be understood.
Right.
Like that's definitely a thing, right? You could be frustrating for people, or I've learned that I have to be careful with if I'm always in a good mood or if I'm always Mr. Positive or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why everybody isn't.
Right.
And so I've had to do a lot of learning around what other people's experience might be, specifically with change.
Right.
Because with ADHD, all I want is change, right? If it stays the same, I get bored. I've owned a company for will be 21 on April 2nd, years.
Congratulations on that.
Well, and most ADHD people don't do that.
No way.
But it's because I keep making new stuff. Yeah. And so it keeps being, look at you. Like,
continue
here you are making new stuff.
Yeah,
I get to keep doing loads. I'm going to do a podcast. And I bet I can make this software. And when you have the right team around you, you can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the trick is figuring out, okay, at what point am I burning people out? Or how do I get people on board for this idea? Because sometimes the idea is so big in your head that when people want to when they have to be the ones implementing it, they can be like, I don't see it. And so that's been really hard with technology is going, I know you don't see it, but like hang in there with me because it's going to be freaking amazing. Right. I promise you, you just have to believe. And
you're right. And I think the answer to that is having good team members that kind of see your vision and can articulate it a bit better and maybe blueprint it out.
Yeah.
But I remember what I was going to ask a bit ago, which is, since we are so extroverted, are there times and frequently that you just want to shut the world out?
Yeah.
Most would call me an extrovert, and that's just not the case. I would much rather be in my own world, doing my stuff, getting things done. When I have to, of course, I can turn it on, and I can turn it on for long periods of time. But at a certain point, it's like, okay. Go away, everybody.
It's so much energy. Yeah, it is. It's so funny you ask that right now because I just went to this conference.
Yeah. You've been around it.
We do. We went to 1902, it's called. Have you been there?
Yeah.
It's so rad.
Absolutely.
They rented it out for a compliance conference.
How cool.
So it was interesting. But yeah, we did that. It ends at 8 and I just bolted. I'm like, I don't want anybody to catch me on the way out the door. I'm going back to my room and I'm just going to sit, right? When I, and by sit, I mean, I played Nintendo Switch.
Super Mario Kart every night.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
But like after I get done here, I'll go jump on a plane and the body is freaking amazing, right? The body gives you the adrenaline you need to get through that thing. And then it just dumps you on your head. Yeah. And so on the flight tonight, I will be completely crashed. I will probably sleep from here all the way to Seattle on my first leg. I'll wake up and I'll fall asleep on my leg to Portland. And then I'll get home at midnight and I will have rested what the rest I needed. And then tomorrow I golf I have a tee time at 7:30.
Very good.
But that's because I can't say no to things.
Correct.
So, but that downtime is what gets me to where I can show up the way I am. But it's so much energy. I do need to I don't even activate my phone on a flight. I won't take the internet.
Yeah, that's your chance to unplug for a bit.
Yeah, I don't want to be reached.
Absolutely. They're like, can't you buy internet? Oh, sorry, flight doesn't have it.
So weird. The Wi-Fi's down.
Weird. Yeah. Always down.
Yep.
So now let's get back to the concept of what it took going through the phases of you creating this business. And you can sum it up because I've got some more questions and I know we're pressed on time. So let's get through this.
Yeah. So we launched the Coop in 2012, got it off the ground, had our first clients, screwed up on all of them. A book I would recommend for anybody doing something like this is the Lean Startup.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. He talks about bugs and how bugs are normal.
Yeah.
And if you release something without bugs, you basically failed because you waited too long to release it. And so learning that, I'm like, okay, let's make some bugs. Like, let's be okay with bugs. We just squash them when they happen. Make sure our clients are happy with us. And so we launched it. It was originally it was just for people to be able to upload all their stuff, to be able to train on it. We saw people, there's a guy, Rich Jefferson from Network Funding, who is one of my good buddies. And he, during COVID, was releasing, and from COVID till now, has released a video every single day for his team.
Wow.
And he can see who's watched it. He can see comments below those videos. Sure. And so we started seeing people like Rich use it for these things that we hadn't even, like, I'm compliance brain, right?
Right.
I didn't know they could use it to grow their company and engage with their people. I mean, I kind of knew, but so I wanted to build community. But when I saw it, I'm like, okay, this is working. And so we just kind of started building that and selling that. And then the CE was we've done CE since it started, right? Since the beginning of it, the requirement. But what we started doing over the last few years is we built 100 hours of content on how to do loans. So I'm back to that first stage of let's get people up and running. Cause I think, and I don't think there's more people getting in this business, and I want them to get in like a golf swing.
Yeah.
If you start with lessons, it's way better than if you try to take lessons 20 years later.
Yeah. Cause then you got to fix all the things that you did wrong.
Yeah. And that's how it is with mortgage. So if we can create ethical, great quality originators, then we win. So we went back to doing that. And then we just launched AI 2 months ago.
Very
for
cool.
Searching Fannie, Freddie, FHA,
the guidelines,
and VA. Yeah.
Very cool.
Which is another thing that people could be like, well, what are you doing? And it's like, well, we want to create the place that loan officers go to learn, grow, and win.
Yes.
So whatever we have to do to get that, we will. And part of that is using AI to make it easier for people to search
the one-stop shop to become the best loan officer you can be. And it's different for each person, but if you want to be the best within your realm and your capabilities, this is the tool. This is the place to go to, the hub.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I really like it. And you mentioned AI. That was one of my questions down the road here. So now we've kind of talked about the sparking of why you created that, all that jazz. I was wondering, because you are so beneficial to the sector of compliance and overseeing what loan officers are doing all over the place. Mm-hmm. Are there ever times where you get called into certain cases, trials, things of that nature? Yeah,
I've never gotten to court yet. They've always settled.
Okay.
I've been an expert witness on cases, horrific ones.
Really?
Uh-huh. Not horrific.
Well, I mean, when you say horrific,
I mean like abuse, massive abuse.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw an elderly woman get her house taken by a loan officer who switched it from a refi to a purchase at the last minute, bought her house from her without her knowing it.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So she was paying rent at her own house.
Well, she didn't. Yeah. They were basically buying it. They were going to flip it to somebody else with her living in it.
And then kick her out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I got on that one. That one settled. I help the IRS and I don't know if I've told anybody this. I helped the IRS and the Postal Service investigate a case that ended with 12 people going to prison. It was a mortgage case. And so, yeah, I've done a lot of work on that. I do a lot of advising for people if they call. It's always funny when people are like, do you have your stuff reviewed by an attorney? And I'm like, not always, but I do review things for attorneys.
Sure.
Because it's how well do you know your subject matter, right? And there's not a lot of gray area in laws.
No, there's not.
But people say there is.
We say it's all the time.
That's kind of gray.
And I think the gray that they're talking about is the interpretation, but there is an intention behind what the words say. And I think if people understand more so what they were intending to be, the interpretation is super clear.
And usually the gray is around whether somebody's getting busted for it. So if they say it's gray, it means nobody's been busted yet.
Right.
It doesn't make it legal.
Correct.
And so you have these waves of nobody getting busted. And so we start doing stupid things. And then all of a sudden, like right now, for example, the mortgage industry doesn't have a lot of money, right?
All
as soon
around.
As that money comes back, you'll see a ton of enforcement actions because they can't enforce on big companies if big companies can't pay those fines.
It makes perfect sense.
And so they hold on to these things. And then as soon as the market recovers, that's when you see the bombarding of massive enforcement actions.
And this is so important because the previous episode that aired, matter of fact, this week, last week, or 2 weeks ago, if you're watching this now, had to do with misinformation on social media. And the reason oh my gosh. And the reason why I called this discussion, I had two additional, one was a branch manager, broker, and the other was a top producing loan officer to join me for that discussion. And it sparked around a post that I saw, which a gentleman, won't name any names, posted just one of those little put the words in the picture type thing. There was nothing else. And it says, I have access to DPA funds at 5.75 rate. I looked at that and I said, hey, number one, we all have access to those funds. Number two, this is the no DPA option. Make sure that you're specifying, and if you're going to put rates, you got to put all the other disclosures that are there. So
you messaged him, you sent him. Okay,
I put it. No, I put it in the comments. That's just me.
Yeah,
I'm always about doing the right thing.
Yeah,
because it's not this one thing or that one person. It's when you have that one person that the CFPB targets, and now we're all in that microscope because of that thing.
And the media hits you like, look what's happening.
Absolutely. And
It's
we're
crazy.
out to be the villains. When, in my opinion, it makes all of us look bad. It truly does, because you've got misinformation that borrowers believe. And when you've got more borrowers that believe it than don't, that becomes the truth.
Right.
And it's hard to kind of combat that if you're the loan officer that's doing the right thing.
Yep.
You know,
which is partly why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Like, I hate when people cheat. Like,
Correct.
if they're cheating to win the business, they will win the business.
Correct.
And it sucks because good guys can't. And in order to compete, you have to cheat.
Right.
Which I'm having more of those conversations now than ever, where I'm having people blatantly say to me, dude, I know this is against the law and we have to do it.
Wow.
And it's multiple conversations like that. So
I believe it.
It's happening all over the place because when there's desperation, you know, people do things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when loan officers don't, you know, care about compliance, then they'll go, hey, dude, if you don't do this, I'm going to go to this other company. And now they don't care about their own company because they're putting their company in a position where now their company could be busted for it, which as a loan officer, you just pop over to another company, right? Which is kind of the curse of this industry, is people will just leave if it's not being done the way they want. And if the way they want is illegal, tough to keep a loan officer. But do you want that loan officer if they're pushing the boundaries?
That's kind of the question that I ask is, do you want that loan officer? And it's unfortunate because we're going through another cleanse of our industry. And that's what I like to call it. Necessary, in my opinion. Absolutely. But at the same time, the ones that are doing top production are some of the ones that are doing this stuff. So those are not the ones that are going to be weeded out.
Right.
You know?
No, it drives me crazy. I mean, I've sat behind top producing loan officers and heard them talk about how they're doing different things. I'm just like, do they even know I'm here? And they didn't. But I mean, I've seen it and it's like, dang, like, stop. You're the ones that should be leading this industry the right direction.
Yeah.
And by the way, you mentioned there's I've heard people call it a culling. There's like a lessening of the amount of loan officers that are out there. Okay. Do not believe anybody's numbers on that.
Okay.
The numbers were not released. So this conference I was just at is the NMLS licensing conference. It's all of the real licensing numbers from the NMLS directly. There's just under 200,000 originators that still have a license.
And it was at
200,000.
What was it before?
200,000.
So it hasn't moved.
It's just below 200,000.
Wow.
So everybody's come out with these numbers. I just actually said something on, because I'm like you, right? So I made a comment on somebody's post.
If I'm not right about something, but I want to know, I'll still ask or I'll still prompt that because, hey, it's time for a good discussion.
Totally.
Thank you.
So yeah, this guy posts, I just got done with this seminar from this other speaker in the industry. And it turns out, you know, we lost, it was something like 60% of the originators. And I'm like, I know that that's not real because the numbers, I know where they come from and I know they hadn't been released yet.
Right.
And so people just make stuff up to be on stage. Right?
Yeah. Wow. And speaking of misinformation, JC, go to the reference if you would. So I Googled that right before we started this thing.
Yeah.
And this is saying, obviously this is generated by AI, but according to the National Mortgage Professionals, 14% of producing loan officers have changed employers, which is different.
Right.
Almost 12% have left the industry. So if we were, let's say, and I could have sworn we were somewhere around 300,000 loan officers, but I could be wrong. But if you're taking 12% of it, that sounds pretty accurate in regards. That's not a ton of, that's not anywhere near 60%.
Yeah, that's not that far off. But you'd want to know where they're getting their numbers because the numbers from, the numbers are sometimes just made up.
Right.
So
you can go back, JC.
NMLS is just under 200,000 as of just now. Pre-licensing, we're still getting, thousands of people getting back into this industry or getting into this industry. So pre-licensing is still there.
I love it.
CE hours was just below where it was last year.
Okay.
It's low. Like it's definitely low.
Sure.
And a lot of that is people dumping a license.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have a license in
a different
5
state,
states and you're like, I'm only doing business in 2 states. Do I want to pay the licensing fees in those 3? So you're losing some of that CE business. But as far as LOs in the business, I was shocked when I saw the chart they released.
Very cool.
So it's just below 200,000.
And I'm surprised that people are, once you've obtained a license in a different state, why you would let it go, simply because our industry is becoming more of a, you don't have to be there in person, so why don't I spread my reach? Honestly, the reason why I haven't gotten licensed in multiple different states is because I took the test back in the day, and I don't want to have to retake the test again
to get
federal
test.
Absolutely,
states.
yeah. Back when I had to take 2 different tests, the federal and the state, now it's 1. So I'm like, all right, loan officers, go get licensed in multiple different states, because we've got the ability to expand your reach to those places. So yeah, that's a odd that people would do that, but at the end of the day, if you don't have it, the fire in you to continue to do that,
or if you lost your best referral source in that state,
that makes sense.
Or you got it because you had 3 loans at the time, but you've really never done another loan, and you have no resources in that state to get you more loans.
Makes perfect sense.
I think partly is just dumping. In times like this, it's like, okay, where can I cut? And I think people cut that.
Yeah.
What you're saying makes so much sense. Of like, why not just do more business? Like,
Amen.
Why don't I just create a plan and go out there and get that business?
That's right.
But that's not what people think.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's surprising to see what others tend to do with that gift to originate more business, who knows? So we've talked about the loan officers leaving the business. We've talked about compliance cases, what sparked the Knowledge Coop. I want to talk about the AI piece now. You mentioned it earlier that you guys incorporated that into what you're doing. With LoanBot, we haven't infused it, but we used it to create the actual tool itself. How do you see AI coming into our industry and I'm not going to say reshaping, but assisting? Because I'm a firm believer that technology, if used correctly, can help you grow. It can help you do more things, especially for someone like myself, that ADD, ADHD. It's like, okay, if that can do this better than me, put it on autopilot. Go do it for me, please.
Dude, ADHD people right now, like people with ADHD, have such power because it's all in just what ideas can we come up with AI.
Yeah.
If you look at like Sir Richard Branson has ADHD. Some of the best leaders, Tony Robbins has ADHD. Like you can go, there's a podcast called Faster Than Normal.
Okay.
Dude, you should listen to it.
I've never heard of it.
It's only the positive of ADHD, where they focus on people who've done amazing things with it. And one of the key factors is I have a shirt that says uncaged. It's a Monster Cast shirt.
Okay.
I'm uncaged. Like I don't have any boundaries in my head. And so we can come up with stuff that might be awesome. So with AI, it assisting us in doing anything, it's the best assistant you've ever had, right?
Right.
And so you're only limited by what you can come up with. And so we can do so much to make AI do all the hard work in this industry. And then we are the relationship builders that go, no, I make sense and here's why. And we're introducing people to our process, right? So you're building a system with AI that is better than anybody else's system because you built it with the leverage of AI.
Right.
And then you're still needed to be that gateway, right?
Absolutely.
People won't know that you have this killer system unless they have loan officers out there on the street talking about what the system is.
No, you're exactly correct. I mean, when creating Review My Mortgage, giving it direct to consumers, and then that birthed the baby of LoanBot, we honestly were like, holy cow, if we added the right integrations, the right tools to this thing, we could do away with loan officers eventually. But our crazy idea of that was pulled back with the concept of, we don't want to do that. Why? Because they're needed. That people interaction, that empathy that you get when you're helping a borrower, the advocacy that you have when you are the expert for the programs that you're recommending, all of that, it can't come from a computer. It can't come from a system. If it does, then you're just going through the motions. And I believe you almost shortchange the borrower's experience in understanding that process of buying a home. I don't want to say it makes it too easy for a borrower to do that, because let's be honest, there's 10% of home loans that go through out of all of them that are A-paper, go through without a hitch, et cetera, et cetera. The rest of them, they all need that human interaction to do the thinking and solution creating,
Yeah. I mean, so we have to be careful, right? Because in 2 years, we're going to go back and listen to this.
Yeah.
And we were either right or we were wrong.
Correct.
Right? So everything's a guess, because I think with AI, I would have never guessed I could do things with AI that I can do. Like I wouldn't have seen it coming.
Yeah.
And so if you think about it, we're just guessing with what we know currently. So think of when the internet was formed.
True. Wow.
So you have all these brick and mortar businesses. Nobody was selling anything online because there was no online.
Right.
Right. So when people were guessing what the internet would be, a lot of people guessed wrong because you're like, oh, I didn't think about the power it could have. Right. When the internet launched. So in 90, when I got married in 95, in 97, I built what eventually, I built Craigslist.
Okay.
But it was for a project at school. I hated that they were selling books that were resold for so much money. And I'm
Makes
like,
sense.
what if we could just get people to sell it to each other? But
Direct,
the internet
wow.
had just, become available for that.
Yeah.
And so I went and started searching. Remember you could go source code, you could see the code.
Absolutely.
So I started doing that and writing HTML script.
You knew that back then?
Yeah.
That's very cool.
But I had a passion like I do
Absolutely.
now, right? ADHD is like, I can go fix this. How do I do it? And then your brain just gets interested in something.
Right. We tend to go down more rabbit holes than most.
Totally. It's good when they work.
Yes.
But yeah, I built this thing and it was called Down with the Bookstore website and had fire on the front page. And it's like, screw these guys. And you're in college.
Yeah.
You're like passionate and revolutionary. And so people started buying and selling books through my website. And then I was in Denver. And so I wasn't in the Silicon Valley. So I wasn't looking for investors. So I just shut it down.
Makes sense.
Right?
It makes sense.
But nobody knew you could do stuff like that.
That was almost like rebellish.
Oh, totally. It was a rebel move.
Yeah.
College didn't like me very much because
cool.
it started hurting. But it's those types of things that you would have never said we can sell books to each other. And then, so you wouldn't have made those same predictions, right? So if we're making AI predictions, you have to think, okay, it's probably 1,000 times it's going to be 1,000 times more capable than we think it's going to be.
Right.
Than our brains can currently imagine it to be. Right. So those things that, a borrower's not, it's in the early stages, a borrower is not going to go in and trust AI to go pick its loan for him.
Correct.
Right. And just like you remember you got in 2012, right?
Yep.
So remember your first time with a borrower on the phone and they're like, I don't give my social security number on the phone. Yeah.
Yep. Especially
Nobody would
when
put it
online banking came out.
Dude.
Nobody wanted to use it.
No, like that's not safe. That's not secure. When Facebook came out, I did a seminar on Facebook will revolutionize your ability to get business. Because for loan officers, like you're going to build relationships using Facebook.
Do you remember what year you did that?
It was literally 3 months after Facebook came out.
Okay. So I started using Facebook exclusively to gain business in 2012. The first 2 months in the industry, nobody else was using it at all yet.
When the comments I was getting in that class were like, nobody will ever put pictures of their family on an internet site. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
That's the first picture I posted was the closing picture. And everybody's like, what are you doing? I got like 2 likes. Nobody knew what it was. And then it continued. And then lo and behold, it wasn't me posting those pictures. It was that family posting the picture, tagging me in it.
Yep.
It just started a full circle concept.
Because your brain wasn't attached to some old way of thinking.
Right.
Your brain can see new ways of thinking. And it's the same thing with AI. So if I'm careful not to say, well, no, that job will never be replaced. Right. Appraisals. I know you probably have appraisers listen to this.
Actually, we had Robert Oglesby on here not too long ago, and he was talking about all the different changes that are coming.
Did you bring up AI?
We did. It's
going to be interesting.
It is. And he said there's not much that he can talk about, but he knows and he is in the process of creating whatever it is going to be.
Yeah. And it's going to change because we don't need... so Fannie Mae a long time ago created a collateral underwriter, right? So collateral underwriter has been used for long enough where the code is actually written. So we're dialing in every box on an appraisal.
Okay.
So it's all digital, right? It's all in the internet. And so it's easy for you to go, well, what do you think that house is worth now? It can figure all that stuff out. And then there's apps that can show you, like you've seen that real estate app.
Oh, absolutely.
So rad.
What is
the one that shows you like the 3D image and then you can walk through it?
What is it called? It's driving me insane now.
The founders of that app are pissed at us right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
Neither one can remember.
Whoops.
I just got a link to one. We're looking at moving buildings to get a bigger space. And I was like, dude, like I'm in Texas.
Yeah.
Sometimes you realize technology is cool. I'm like, I'm in Texas walking down the hallway of this building. It's genius.
Yeah,
right?
It's very smart.
So we have measurements on things. We have all that. All I need is somebody to look at it and confirm that it really is right. Right. So appraisers' jobs that's not going to be measuring out real, rooms.
Correct.
We have drones that can do that too.
That's
right?
true.
We have an iPhone app that can measure your room. If you just put the iPhone in the room, it'll tell you. So it will change appraising. It will change real estate. Dude, Zillow just launched Zillow with OpenAI, where now you can go and tell Zillow what you think you might want in a house, and then it's just going to constantly look for one for you.
Huh.
And so buyer's agents now are competing with, it's every day, every upload of every house, it sees it and is going to go back and be like, Mark, like, well, let me tell you my scenario. I want a house with a view. I'm ready to move. My wife and I are ready to downsize. 2 out of 3 kids are out. And we think if we downsize, we can get rid of the third one.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So I'm looking at downsizing. I want a view. I want something newer. Like I've got all these things.
Yeah.
And every day.
Here's some advice. Move to Texas.
I know, totally. Get
more
some
bang for your buck, man.
I said I want a view. So
I'll show you after.
I haven't seen a mountain since I landed.
I'll show you afterwards.
Okay. So, but like I have these things. So every day I go on Redfin and I go on Zillow and I go try and find that house that I'm looking for.
Sure.
Zillow can do that for me, right?
Yeah,
with their
100%.
new AI plugin, and real estate agents can use that AI to be able to do the same thing. So don't fight a borrower wants to use AI, be part of a borrower using AI.
That's
or
what
you're
I like to
screwed.
hear. Yes. Is for all of those that believe it's doom and gloom, for all of these new technology tools that are coming in way, it is your level of resistance that is going to keep you from excelling to that next level with your tools that are AI.
Yep.
I would have people focus on how to leverage versus focusing on what it's going to replace. If that
100%,
makes sense.
100%. Because if it's replacing something, wouldn't you want to be on the team of the one replacing
Heck
it?
yeah.
Like why stay and be on the team of ones getting replaced?
Yeah.
And
That
this
makes
happens all the
perfect
time.
sense.
Yeah.
Here's that view you were looking for, by the way.
Oh, that is beautiful.
See, that's off the back porch
Of here?
of my house.
That's off your, dude, okay.
Mi casa, su casa.
All right.
Next time you're in town, holler.
I'm going to open up my search.
I'm telling you.
Maybe we'll start looking here.
Texas is cheaper. Maybe you
Dude,
get 2 homes.
You have hills?
Oh, yeah. Hill country. The real thing.
That is rad. Okay. All right. I stand corrected.
So you actually kind of provoked a new conversation with the fact that Zillow is providing more, and I like to call it value to the consumer directly. We can't deny that. Everybody wants to piss on Zillow, but if you piss too much, they might just buy you. Okay. and the concept of where this is going is back to the NAR ruling of buyer representation.
Yeah.
I asked the previous guest about this, and I've asked just about every guest about their thoughts on the ruling, why it came to be. What do you think's going to do in the future for it? Because let's face it, they did rule on it. Of course, they're going to appeal it and appeal it and appeal it, but it doesn't change the fact that they've already got one in the books that this is what they view it as.
100%.
So
yeah. And it changes the game.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So I hope people still listen to this after I say this. Actually, it's
As
not
long
even
as it's the
controversial.
truth, yeah.
It's not even controversial. I think everybody needs to be able to communicate why they bring value.
Right.
And how much value do they bring, right? If somebody's joining the Coop or taking our classes, I mean, our new subscription model is $360 a year, buys you every content we create, plus the AI is part of that.
Smart move. Wow.
So it's not that expensive, right?
No.
But I can tell you why it's worth it, right? So when we have somebody call and go, well, you guys are priced too high, I better to be able to respond and go, yeah, let me just tell you why. And I can outline exactly why we are.
That's right.
We create education you want to watch. Well, do you want to watch education or do you hate it?
Right.
So, but I can define it for you. A buyer's agent has never had to do that, right? I mean, a little bit because they want the business,
correct?
Right? They want you to commit to me that I'm going to go find you a spot. So I have to pitch to you, right? But I'm not including the price because you never have to pay me.
Correct.
The seller's paying me, which is technically the buyer paying me through paying more for a house.
That's
but
correct.
whatever. Yeah.
I'm right there with you on
but
this.
It's not their purchase. So if I don't have to spend the money, right? If you were going to get me some new shoes and I'm not paying for them, yeah, like
sounds good.
Let's
Sign
do
me
that,
up.
right? But if you were going to try and sell me shoes and be like, now you have to pay, and these shoes are $7,000, I'd be like, why are they $7,000?
What am I getting for $7,000?
Right.
That's right.
And so that's what every realtor needs to do right now is go back and define their value. We had a realtor when we bought our current house. When you walk into any house with this guy, he disappears. He goes crawling into the crawl spaces. He's like climbing up onto the roof. He's like, dude, okay, this one's okay, but I'm really worried about this. Like he just knew houses.
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, okay, so I've looked at every single house that's been sold in the last 6 months. They've got it overpriced by just a little bit, but here's why. And like, he just crushed it for us.
I like that.
And so I love that. Like, I love that he showed me why he's so good. So how do you communicate that in a way that proves you're worth it, right?
Right.
Now, the problem is if you're what's your average home price here?
I think it's now just under 300, maybe 289, 290, right at that range. Honestly.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
I do need to open up my...
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yeah. $1 million goes a long way in San Antonio.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me just take
and to further that, our average credit score is about 670 or so. Average median income, maybe, and combined about 70 grand.
Really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll be your neighbor.
That's why a ton of people are still moving here.
Are we on a golf course?
There's a golf course right behind us.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Rock and Terra.
Okay,
Beautiful.
so let's say you're buying in our area, and we're in the Northwest in Camas, Washington. So we're averaging like $600,000, $700,000 probably would get you a house,
and that's for a first-time buyer.
It's a fixer-up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, you can get a fixer-upper like 2-1, 2-bedroom, 1 bath for like $400, $350.
So for all of you out there listening that are San Antonio or Texas natives, for that matter, listen up closely. We are nowhere near overpriced. We are nowhere near a crash. We are nowhere near the concept of spreading fear to your buyers at this point. Education, always top of mind. But when you've got folks in the north that their first time home buyer pool is starting $400,000 for your tiny home, I think we need to be grateful for what we have.
Can I add to that? Because
Please.
here's the thing. I didn't know that.
Oh,
so the interesting thing for me is here I am in Washington looking to downsize. My son is looking for a house. You know, he's 23.
Okay.
With that $600,000 price, there's no way he's getting a house.
Right.
So they started opening up their view of the country.
Okay.
So how can a realtor in Texas, if you want to, maybe you don't want Washingtonians living here, but if you do and you want the business, knowing that this is real.
Absolutely.
I will seriously call my son when we get out of here and I'll be like, dude, San Antonio.
Yeah.
Like I will send him here because it's gorgeous here.
It really is. The people are great.
It's amazing.
Food is outstanding. Yes.
So good.
Correct.
So I will say he'll probably move down here because I always kind of look at Austin to see what they're at.
Yeah.
They're
Austin's another world.
Yep. Yeah. But like, I'll tell him that and he can move here and probably, you know, a lot of jobs will let you work remote still. So
Absolutely.
he could still have a job in any area and live here, raise his kids in a school that he wants to raise his kids. Cause you know, some areas have really good schools, right?
Correct.
We have some okay schools, but actually we have some fairly good schools, but they're not in line with where he wants to go, right? He's probably looking at maybe a private school or something like that. But dude, that's the thing is how do you get me to know that so I can tell people?
And for me, being the tech nerd that I am and very engulfed in the concept of lead generation, I haven't paid for lead generation to a third party company like a Zillow, Realtor.com, Boomtown, any of those in, I would say, about 7 years. The concept is understanding where your target audience is and going to them. Like I always say, fish where the fish are.
Totally.
If your pond grows, go find where your fish are and then stick your pole in. And that being the case, I don't understand why there aren't more individuals that are taking, let's say, their social media, their Google ads, their YouTube marketing and targeting people in California, Oregon, New York, all these places that are coming this way.
Yeah.
You can literally hone in and say, I want to search for people in California that are searching San Antonio.
Right.
Boom.
Dude,
you're welcome.
My neighbor moved to South Carolina. He had never been there.
Okay.
So he's just like, yeah, this is dumb. And we have so many friends that are like, this is dumb. Where are we going to move? And I mean, seriously, we would be looking at something like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so where I was going with that is if you're buying a $600,000 house, the buyer's agent fee is going to be $18,000, right? So now you go, okay, what about what you do is worth $18,000? If the buyer has to pay for it up front, like those shoes we were talking about, and you're like, here's some shoes for $18,000. Cool. What do you do? And I'm not saying that to say that people can't justify an $18,000 fee.
Right.
I'm saying I want to see that be justified because what they've been doing is charging the 18 grand without being able to say, yeah, this is why, because they never had to defend their price.
Correct.
So that's what I'm looking for.
They've almost piggybacked on the concept that the sellers are inherently going to foot that bill.
Right. Right. Which, I mean, dude, don't get me started on title companies.
Sure.
But I mean, briefly, a title company does not market to consumers.
No.
They spend all their money violating RESPA in many cases by paying for things for you guys and for realtors to try to make them like them and send them more referrals.
Correct.
But if a title company was to go, what if we went after the consumer? Then they're not dependent on everybody in the industry. They're going after it themselves and going, consumers, you might want to close here, and here's why. We have an arcade for your kids. We have a climbing wall. We have,
Good point.
Just drop a ton of cool stuff and be like, this is why you close with us, and then advertise to the consumer like you're supposed to.
Wow. That in itself is one of the main reasons why 7 years ago, we started the process of building Review My Mortgage, because I'll be honest, we got tired of having to chase realtors around.
Totally.
And we went, okay, what do consumers want from us?
Yep.
They want to know what we know before we actually talk to them. Let's figure out a way to get it to them. Because let's face it, what does a loan officer have to give to their customers that is with them always, that keeps them engaged, that keeps them potentially educated, interested in moving forward with this home purchase, especially those that are first-time home buyers?
Yeah.
Just Realtor.com app, Zillow app, the pretty things, the sex sells. Well, the house is the sex part that essentially is going to sell itself.
That's such a good clip. You have to clip that out for the Facebook. The house is the sex part. I think
right.
It's going to be a great reel.
I love it.
But you're also thinking of it as a transaction, right?
Yes.
And so many people say, I'm your loan officer for life, but the only thing we focus on is the transaction. And it's like, why do we not stay in touch with our clients after that? Why don't we stay constantly communicating? Why don't we give them resources? Like what I love about what you're doing is you're educating people who have to make tough decisions. So if you're worried that they're going to go choose the wrong professional to give them that advice, you could just train them like you're doing,
right?
Teach them what they need to know about getting a mortgage and stay in their lives.
Correct.
So that when they need you, they don't have to go, honey, who was that loan officer we used?
Correct.
Like, that's stupid. Like, why are we, and by the way, I don't know if you've seen the numbers on people that don't remember who their realtor was, or it's crazy.
Number one reason, they forgot their name.
Yes.
I know these stats.
I've had friends where I'm like, who's your loan officer? They're like, oh, you're in the mortgage business. Oh, we did a loan, 3 years ago. We had a great loan officer. I'm like, what's his name? What's her name?
No clue.
Gosh, I don't remember. She worked for a company in, was it Portland? It's like, oh my gosh. Wow. And it's because people walk away from their clients.
Yes.
And so you've got to do things that keep you engaged with them.
I mean, the concept is top of mind. And I took that quite literally when I was heavily producing before I opened my own branch and had loan officers to train and was mentoring. Top of mind. And we're like, okay, stay top of mind. I'm going to wrap my truck. I'm going to wrap my boat. I'm going to do this. I had a moving trailer that I would give to the customers if they needed it to move.
Right.
But it had me all over it.
Yep.
So it was almost impossible for somebody to forget about me.
Yep.
And then parlaying that with the fact that after closing, if those customers had social media, bet your butt I was friends with them moving forward.
Oh, of course.
I was also, hey, invite me to your housewarming party. I'd love to come and meet some more people. Matter of fact, I'll bring the beer. Don't worry.
Yep.
That type of concept to get into their circle, because just like when you go to a car dealership and buy a red car, you drive off and all of a sudden there's a bunch of red cars everywhere.
The reticular activator.
There you go.
Yeah.
Same concept with having a baby or buying a house.
Yep. Dude, there was a loan officer in California that bought a margarita maker, like a margarita machine.
Yeah.
And so when he closed a deal, he'd go, hey, when's the housewarming party? Because I want to come over. And they'd be like, I don't know if we're going to do one. He would take over and be like, I got you.
Wow.
I'm going to make these cards. I'm going to get those out to your people. Give me the list and I'll send out those cards.
That's
inviting
smart.
them. Let's pick a day. I've got this margarita machine. I'm going to make some margaritas. And he would just stand there making people margaritas, which
you get to talk to people.
Dude,
that's pretty cool.
It's what a bartender does, right?
Yes.
You talk to people and build relationships. And so he crushed it because that was his move. Instead of walking away from them after closing, or some people don't even call and say, how are things? Like,
correct. You're exactly correct.
What about 30 days from now when I get my
transaction.
bill? Like, how do you know that my servicing's going correctly? Call me.
And I'll even go a step further. I believe those are the ones that are in this market today for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, that are struggling.
Yeah.
They truly are. They're getting their onesie twosie loans because they're still fighting for the business that came from the realtor versus creating a relationship book of business that will feed you for the rest of your career.
Totally.
So, okay. So we've talked about quite a bit already. Let's see here. NAR ruling. Did you
just build value?
There you
and
go.
Prove you're worth it. And if you're worried that you're not worth it, then you've got a bigger problem.
So, all right, we're doing good on time. I've got one last question for you.
Okay.
And there's no wrong or right answer to it. It's truly, let's get into Ken's brain for a moment.
All right.
It's from your, mine too, man. From your perspective, what challenges do you see our industry facing as we move forward? And there's so many things we can talk about under this umbrella, but from your perspective, because you get to communicate with loan officers across the country. Matter of fact, before we started this, you were showing me your suitcase and all the places that you've already been.
Yep.
And it gives you the best perspective, in my opinion. I think the more that we experience, the more we're able to do in life, go further in life, mentor, coach, share. And that's what I believe people like us tend to eventually do, is share our stories, because they only do so much being in here, you know? That being the case, what challenges do we face as an industry?
All right. So let's see. Where do I begin? So globally, challenges for companies. Number one, enforcement actions are coming down, and they're going to come down strong. There's already one. There's a couple on LO Comp that you'll see soon.
Okay.
That I just heard about on changing your lead type from in-house to, lead gen or whatever.
Branch gen, lead gen. Okay.
That one, there's already cases on that. So that's going to be a big one. It'll rattle the mortgage industry when those things start happening.
Yep.
So enforcement's going to be big, but we've been through enforcement. People will get through it. Companies will pay fines. The AI is probably the biggest thing that I look at that's a concern for the mortgage industry, because some will use it correctly and do really well. Some will dig their heels in and they won't. And they'll suffer because they're not part of the change.
Right.
There's an interesting thing I don't hear a lot of people talking about, and that is the mortgage industry is made up of a lot of 50-plus-year-old white males.
That's true. I think we were talking about that. What was that, yesterday that came up? The average age of a loan officer is now 50-something.
Yeah.
It's incredibly high, but at the same time, I get it. It makes sense.
Yeah. And what's going to happen is a lot of these people are leaving the business, right? Because when the business gets tough, you hang in, you're like, yeah, let me see. It's almost like when you win a bunch of money in Vegas at a poker table or whatever, and you're like, should I walk away right now? And imagine
Kenny Rogers in your head.
Oh, you got to know when to fold him. But imagine like last week you were in Vegas and you put, $1,000 in and you lost it all.
Yeah.
Right. This week when you're in Vegas, you put $1,000 in and you remember losing it all and you hated that. Right. And now you get up to like $5,000 and you look at that and you go, I remember when I was at 1,000 and I went to 0 and now I'm at 5,000. I'm going to get out on top this time. And so you let yourself go maybe down to 4,000 and then you go, nope. And then you pull it off and you take your winnings, right? That's what mortgage industry is having happen right now, is loan officers have been crushing it. They're kind of doing it now because they know how to do it. They're going to take their last ride and then they're just out. And so you're going to see a lot of those professionals in the business that have been doing it a long time just hang it up.
Yeah. That reason that you mentioned, in addition to the drastic change that our industry has taken. Like I was talking about the fish where the fish are. Well, they're online. They don't want to meet you in person anymore. Why? Because they don't have to in their mind.
Right.
So yeah, they're having a tough time in adjusting to the technology that's being incorporated.
They don't want to get on that social media.
Correct.
And yeah, they're going to die. Either they'll quit or they'll be ushered out by what's happening with social media. Right. So I think that's going to happen. And there's just a ton of business to be picked up by other people, and we're starting to see that swell. Interestingly, some of them are the kids of those people that are retiring.
It's true.
And so in pre-licensing education right now, we get a lot of kids that go, well, my dad did this and finally I'm going to do it, or my mom did this and I'm now getting into the business. So they'll take a lot of that. And in other cases, they're raising up people in their company that can come in and do that.
Makes sense.
So that's kind of an interesting shakeup in the industry. It'll be fun it's already fun to watch. The names are changing in the people that we respect in the industry, the people that we listen to.
Sure.
So we had, a group of speakers that I'll be at Momentum Builder next week, and we've got a lot of speakers there, and a lot of them have been there for a long time in the industry. And then you have some that are like the newer, crew that's coming in with some new ideas, right? You represent this new group. It's people that are younger that are like, oh, but you could do it this way. And so I think we have new ideas that are coming into the business as well.
That's a good point.
And some of those older ideas, like if you just do this and if you just do that, well, you'll probably lose your business, right? But in the old days, if you just do this, you just do that, it would work. But in the new day, like you didn't mention social media in your conversation. Like,
That's exactly
how are we
right.
not talking about going out there and utilizing AI, social media, and some of these tools to grow the business? So I think you'll see that too. So it'll be an interesting shakeup. I don't know about the massive growth of some of these companies. You know, we've had
the
a lot
acquisitions
of
that are taking place.
You mentioned Academy. They just got
Absolutely.
bought by Guild like this week, right?
Like 3 days ago, correct?
Yeah.
That was a big splash on social media. My phone blew up. Did you know? Did you know? I'm like, yes, we knew.
Yeah. And the bigger getting bigger, which is, so you've now got kind of two camps. You have these giant mortgage companies and you have the smaller broker shops that we're seeing really rise up as well.
Right.
So we're going back to that. That's fair. That happened before, where you have brokers and you have, the larger mortgage bankers. And so I think that's going to continue, but the middle guy is the one getting squeezed right now.
Right.
And so for the middle guy, I think it's just hang in there a little bit longer and you'll probably be okay, because nobody wants to get out of the game right before the touchdown. Right.
Right.
And so there's people that are just hanging in there hoping, with all their hope that they can make it. If they make it through, then good. Well, we need 3 levels, right? We need the broker shops. We need the big mortgage banker shops. We need that mid-sized mortgage banker, because there's business for each one of them.
I have to agree with you on that.
And they have different they have different models with that, which has a different, potential buyer, potential, borrower. And so getting rid of them doesn't make any sense, because the brokers need the big mortgage bankers to create that challenge for them.
Correct.
The mortgage bankers need the brokers to keep them on their toes and make them compete.
Right.
Right. So if you take out all the mortgage brokers, the rates can be incredibly high.
Yeah.
If you take out all the mortgage bankers, then we can be incredibly unregulated and in
true.
trouble. And so you need both of those things.
Yeah,
or all 3 technically.
You're exactly right with that. I mean, the concept of if there were no brokers, you're on the money. It would drive rates through the roof, because there's nobody to keep those that compression down with the thinner margins and whatnot.
And you need the model of somebody mid-sized being able to reach the broker side,
right,
and broker some loans and being able to have some of their in-house stuff.
Well, I mean, in addition, kind of like what I was talking about before, is you've got 10% of the buyers every year that are A paper. They can go to the credit union, put their 20% down.
Right.
Here's my documentation, W-2 perfect, etc., and not have a hitch whatsoever. And then you've got the massive population that may be self-employed, maybe had credit challenges, maybe don't know how to use a computer the right way. I mean, there's all of these different sectors of demographics that if you rid the brokers and the bankers and just leave the credit unions or the big banks, there'd be a ton less.
It's a 180-day refi.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like that's the problem
Good luck.
with, I mean,
yes.
Everybody serves a purpose. And so being able to have each group have their space is awesome.
Yeah.
And so I hope we can continue that. We ride this out. Mid-level people get their footing. Larger companies continue to do their thing. I mean, the beauty of a larger company is they have the ability to fund a massive compliance department and try and do things as right as they can. When you trim out all the margin, then you start losing your ability to fund your compliance department. Which I always cry when that happens, because it's like, no.
Because you're opening yourself up to more fines, more scrutiny, all of the things. It's exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm optimistic about the future. But at the same time, I'm also a top producer mentality. If there's no business, I'm going to go find it.
Yeah.
I'm going to change and adapt to the markets. I'm going to dig my heels in deeper. I'm going to understand that the fact that from the end of 2019 to 2022, it was shooting fish in a barrel.
It was fake.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not a real market. And the real days are coming back to basics. Yeah. Building value, truly.
And we will normalize. We always do. Like if you want a normal industry that never changes, get out of the mortgage industry.
Boom. I love that.
We have the boom, we have the bust. And if you don't like either of those, then you're in trouble, right? You got to be able to swing with both of them, because eventually it just goes back to normal. Then it's going to boom again, and then we're going to bust again. And that's just the world we live in.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, Ken, I want to thank you for joining me on this discussion. Is there anything else that you'd like to let our listeners know? And that's perspective of loan officers producers, realtors, buyers, sellers, homeowners, they're all listening.
Yeah. So we did, one thing I really want to share. In last year, I did not make it through 2020 very well. And I've been very open about my experience in facing depression and anxiety for the first time in my entire life.
Okay.
I was always the guy who was like, dude, just smile more. Like, you're fine. Like, just, why are you mad? Look how much money you have. Look what house you live in. And I faced that and I got through it. And I remember my therapist, I started seeing a therapist to get through. And he said, what do you do if they lock you down again? Because I don't like being locked down. I travel for a living. I live for adventure.
Correct.
He said, what do you do if we lock you down? If the governor locks you down again? I said, I won't make it. And I still don't know what I meant by that. But when I said that, he goes, yeah, you will. I'm like, what? And he goes, you're wrong. You will. And I go, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, you made it through this. And now you have these skills you've learned and you could use those skills the next time you go through something. So last January, I'm in the shower where all great thoughts happen. And
exactly
for some reason, that's where all the best thoughts are.
That or the other place.
Yeah, exactly. And it occurred to me because I've always wanted to start a podcast but I never want to do something just to do it. I always want to have a reason or else I'll let it die. And I was in the shower and it occurred to me, it popped in my head, lessons from last time. Like, what if we take people's lessons they made? And at the time I said, what if we take lessons from 2008 and then like interview people who went through it and talk to them about what lessons they're using now? So we did it. The first episode was super cool. The second episode, we get into her family life, and she lost her husband after 7 years of cancer that he battled.
Oh, wow.
And at that moment, I realized this isn't going to be a mortgage podcast. And so I dug in and I just said, my first comment was, you were in a parking lot of a hospital. And she goes, what? And I said, you lost him in 2021. You were in the hospital parking lot. Because I remember during the lockdown thinking that was the one thing I looked at and went, they have it the worst, right? To not be able to see your loved one, not see your baby born, stuff like that. And so I said, how can you tell me as a friend what to do? And she's like, don't ask me what I need. And she just gave all these tips. And I was like, dude, that was so powerful.
Wow.
And so then it became less about how did you make it for the mortgage is not that hard, right? It sucks sometimes and it's awesome sometimes, but in the scope of life, right? You get to make it to all your spouses. You know, we got to make it to our wives, the kids, when the babies were being born.
All of those things. Yes.
And so we have a pretty good world, but what people have dealt with is just different and it's deeper. And so since then I've just every Monday we release an episode where we just talk about somebody who's made it through struggles and then what are the tips and tools that they took away from those struggles. And it's just been fascinating. And so I would say for anybody going through it right now, feeling like mortgage is hard, go check out the podcast Lessons from Last Time. The one we're about to release, Craig Davis, is one of my favorite interviews I've ever done because he just made it through stage 3 colon cancer.
Wow.
And he worked for Finance of America at the highest level when they shut down. And so he got through cancer. And then like 2 weeks after recovery, he found out he doesn't have a job. And he breaks that out on the podcast. And so it's just what I want to bring to people is just that perspective of, okay, we all go through stuff, right? Everybody gets broken at some point. Everybody picks themselves up and gets back out there. And what we've always told our kids is it's not how many times you fall, it's how fast you can get up.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we're trying to do with the podcast is give people tips for getting up and going back out there.
I love that. I mean, I go back to this. I mentioned it yesterday, but Rod Rohde, who you know.
Love that guy. He's going to be on the podcast, by the way.
Yeah. Is he?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's been on mine before. He does a great job.
Yeah.
He's a guy's a great speaker. He played a clip from Jocko at the end of a presentation, and the principal concept of this was bad things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
You're still alive. It gives you the opportunity to reshape what you're doing, dig deeper, hone in, all of the different things. But you know what? It could be worse. You could not be here anymore.
Right.
And that's kind of the emphasis on that. And it's a powerful statement, and it kind of goes hand in hand with what you're talking about. Instead of moping, seek assistance, seek answers. There's others that have gone through what you're going through. I promise you, and they're willing to share their story.
Yep.
In most cases.
When you go through something, what we've worked with our kids, because our kids have struggled, high school, 2020 wasn't easy, right?
Right.
And what we tell our kids when they go through tough times is we go, okay, cool. When you're through this, I want you to be looking for the people going through what you're going through right now, because now you understand them.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they can reach out and go, oh, dang, I see that because I recognize it because I've been there, and then just be there for them.
Absolutely.
And that's where that power comes from of, if something sucks and you went through it, you almost take back that power when you're able to help somebody else through that same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So
that's very cool. Very insightful. Some great stuff from Ken Perry. Dude, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So those of you listening, I hope you got a lot out of this. There's plenty of nuggets to choose from. A couple of the things that I took from this is, number one, kind of going chronologically backwards, is if you're going through hell right now, keep going. You might as well not stop here. There's plenty of folks out there that are willing and available to help in any way they can. But if you don't ask, no one would know. Just like Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And from the mortgage aspect of things, great insight to what is to come. And the one thing that I hold as a highlight to this is kind of the same thing that I learned when I first got into this industry. The only thing consistent is change. That being the case, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to like, subscribe, share with a friend, because again, you never know who could need this information right now. Hope to catch you on the next one. Until then, peace. Welcome to Key Factors Podcast, where knowledge meets ambition in the fast-paced world of real estate and mortgage. I'm your host, Mark Jones, bringing you the latest insight, trends, and expert advice to navigate this dynamic property market. In each episode, we dive deep into the heart of the industry, dissecting market movement, exploring investment strategies, and unlocking the secret to real estate success. Whether you're a seasoned professional, an aspiring investor, or simply looking to stay ahead of the curve, this is the ultimate guide to making informed decisions in the world of property and real estate. So grab a seat and let's uncover the key factors that make all the difference. Welcome to Key Factors Podcast. Let the journey begin.